Well, let's get more on the situation on the ground in Ukraine from defence and security analyst Professor Michael Clarke. And Michael, we've seen overnight Russia successfully taking Severodonetsk. Why is that so significant and so important? It's been bubbling under for a long time, hasn't it?
Yes, I mean, it's symbolically significant. It's the last city in Luhansk, which is the northern part of the Donbass area, the smaller city across the river of Lysychansk. But Severodonetsk was only 100,000 people. But nevertheless, it's the city that gives Russia the northern part of the Donbass. They started the offensive 10 weeks ago. It's taken them 6 weeks since they started to really attack Severodonetsk to get to the river, which divides it from the city over the other side of the river. And the Ukrainians obviously were withdrawing last week. They were clearly pulling forces out. There was a sort of news blackout about it, sensibly enough. And so the Ukrainians are giving them Severodonetsk now. In a way, about 3 weeks ago, we thought they were withdrawing. I think they decided to go back over the river and keep fighting for it in order to make the Russians pay the maximum price to take this city. That's what they've done.
Another place that we've heard about is Snake Island. Just tell us what the latest is there.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. There's a battle within a battle. Snake Island fell to the Russians on day one. It was a very big issue, of course, at the time. It was when the Ukrainians told the Moskva, the ship, what it could do with itself, and the Russians took over Snake Island. The Ukrainians have chased them off it, but they've never been able to reoccupy it themselves. They've actually attacked Russian forces on Snake Island. The Russians put a big effort into getting air defence units back on Snake Island and potentially some maritime missiles. And the point about Snake Island is it controls access to Odessa from the sea. If the Ukrainians own Snake Island, they could create maybe some safe routes for grain convoys to come back and forth. It would still be pretty dangerous, but they could. If the Russians control Snake Island, then they have complete coverage over what may happen in the waters around Odessa. So that's why it's important. And it goes on. It's a sort of air battle and a missile battle. And at the moment, Snake Island is full of Russian facilities, many of which seem to have been destroyed.
And just a final thought, really, on why do you think Russia attacked Kiev last night? There's been a pause, really, on its attacks there. Of course, the timing, just before the G7 summit.
Yeah, and it's very deliberate. I mean, President Putin always does this. Whenever there's a big diplomatic event in the West that he thinks is going to be anti-Russian, he launches a series of attacks or orders them to be launched to show that he doesn't care, to show that he reserves the right to attack what he wants. But in this case, these are the residential blocks that were hit. There was a site near it, the Artem Industrial Park, which did have ammunition facilities in it. That would be a logical target, but it looks as if they missed. They did attack other targets elsewhere in Ukraine, military targets, army bases, army training bases in Lviv and Chernihiv. But this one was about as symbolically foolish as you could imagine. On the eve of the G7, they went for a target, missed and hit a residential block. That's the message they've sent to the leaders in Munich.
OK. Michael, thanks very much for taking us through all of that.